Mercedes Mone might have had a big debut at Big Business, but one thing it certainly wasn't was a big ratings draw. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. The numbers are in for AEW Dynamite, and it turns out that Mercedes Mone is not a needle mover. She made her big debut at Big Business, and it had little impact on the overall viewership of AEW Dynamite. Now, the good news for Mercedes and AEW is that it has increased over last week's number. However, the bad news is that number is such a small increase, an increase of 3% to be exact, bringing the total number of viewers to 801,000. So, I mean, it's an embarrassing number. This was Big Business. This had Mercedes Mone debuting. This had some big matches that were hyped, and it also had an AEW World Heavyweight Championship match between Samoa Joe and Wardlow. So for this show to only get 801,000 is pretty damn poor. I actually thought it would do a bit more than that, especially considering that they'd put a lot of effort into this show. There was some high profile matches, Mercedes Mone debuting. I thought it would get over 900,000, and I thought there was an outside chance that it could maybe get close to 1 million. However, I'm beginning to think that AEW Dynamite will never get over 1 million again, because I mean, there's not many stars left out there. I'm not saying Mercedes Mone is one of them, but she's been perceived to be somebody that would make a difference. But these numbers show that she doesn't really make any difference. Is she more of a draw than the likes of Will Ospreay and Okada? Well, the answer to that is probably yes, but is she a needle mover? Is she going to get AEW in the right direction to challenge WWE? No. She certainly is no CM Punk. Let's put it that way. When CM Punk went to AEW, he moved the needle big time. I would say he probably doubled the viewership of Rampage, because you got to keep in mind, Punk was on the second edition of Rampage, and he moved the viewership up by over 400,000. However, the premiere episode of Rampage was always going to be like the best rated, the best viewed, because it's the first episode. Had CM Punk debut in the first episode of Rampage, then he probably would have did like 1.5 mil. But because he came on in the second, the fact that he still outperformed the first episode was amazing. But still, anyway, there is certain draws in wrestling. Obviously, The Rock is the biggest. CM Punk, because he was out of the wrestling ring for 7 years, that was a big deal. That was a pretty big draw, but I mean, outside of maybe like 10 people, there's not many guys moving the needle at all, and Mercedes Mone certainly isn't one of them. So 801,000 was the total viewership. The key demo, I think, was the same as last week's, 0.27. Now, in terms of the quarter hourly numbers, they started the first segment with 1 million views, which is pretty good, although keep in mind AEW always starts around 900,000. Sometimes they do 1 million at the beginning. Last week they did 940k, this week they did 1 million. The second quarterly hour did 899k, which is quite a lot considering what they normally do. There's normally a massive drop off, but because Joe and Wardlow, I think, were following Mercedes Mone, they managed to like hold that number steady. So they went from 1 million down to 899, then 815, and they finished off the first hour with 737. Opened up the second hour with 798, then 799, then 732, before finishing off in the final quarter with the main event drawing 627,000. So a really, really poor number there. Again, they've lost, what, 373,000 viewers from the opening segment to the final segment. And that is really, really poor. But, I mean, just overall, the number, 801,000, man, that absolutely sucks. There's no way Tony Khan was expecting that. Mercedes Mone wanting Charlotte Flair money, and she can't even get them higher than 801,000. You know, it's really poor. AEW is not going in the right direction. It sucks. It really does suck, and this number sucks from Mercedes Mone. So yeah, really, really poor when you look at the quarterly breakdowns. It's just Mercedes Mone is not this big star. I'm sorry to say it, but she's not a big deal, and she's actually lost, I think, star power since leaving the WWE. She's not been in WWE for 2 years, and it's not like she's been, in big companies improving her brand. She's been wrestling in Japan. The American audience don't really care, so therefore, at least with CM Punk, when he was out, first of all, he was a big star when he left. Then he went to the UFC. There was a reason for people to be excited about Punk coming back, and they all thought he was going to bash WWE. But Mercedes Mone, there was just like no hype, no anticipation, no nothing here really. It really did feel flat. So yeah, it sucks for her. It sucks for AEW. The needle didn't move, and I'm really not surprised at the end of the day, guys. So let us know what your thoughts are. But yeah, poor rating. Is what it is though. Mercedes Mone isn't this big deal. AEW Big Business did not draw big business, and it's back to the drawing board for Tony Khan, because he needs to come up with more ideas, better ideas, because what he's doing right now just is not working. I've been Fog Wrestling, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Till then, peace.